Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Sam's not here today, but we promised you he said, she said, and that's what we've got. Barbara Buckley and Jim Wadhams debate insurance plans, and boy, do they go at it. And on the pundit panel, we have Ande Barbano, Dina, Titus, John Cummings, Joe Brezny, all coming up next on the new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Today's lesson, another reason to take the Gold Rush Club Card Challenge. With the Gold Rush card, you really have 3 cards in one. Use your cash back. You still keep your comps and drawing tickets. Use your comps. You still keep your cash and drawing tickets. And with your drawing tickets, you could win thousands in cold hard cash every week and still keep your cash back and comps. Does your club add up? Graduate to the Gold Rush Players Club. It's the smart thing to do. The Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV parks.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of Firestone roofing products for any type of roof, from commercial to industrial and residential. With a Firestone roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Barbara Buckley is the majority leader of the Assembly, and Jim Wadhams represents the insurance industry. She's brought a bill to help us as far as HMOs are concerned, but he says it'll drive insurance companies out of the state. Barbara, could you give us just a little bit of a summary of what your bill will accomplish?
Yeah, the bill covers 2 separate areas, but both related. The first has to do with medical malpractice insurance. The state has gone through a lot of ups and downs in this arena, and this is to get at some insurance reform, the worst insurance practices that are causing rates to go up. And the second part of it has to do with physicians' and patients' rights. What if their HMO drops their physician and they're in the middle of treatment? What should happen then? So the bill covers those 2 areas.
Jim, you have a problem with some of these things?
Well, I have a problem with some of the language. I think the concepts that are being brought up in this bill are important to discuss. One of the problems we had in the special session is it was very short, very intense, and very focused on a limited area. Unfortunately, in that process, a lot of anecdotal information builds certain expectations and concerns in legislators. And quite frankly, I think the discussion on this bill will put a lot of those to rest.
Barbara?
Yeah, I mean, we did not have much time during the special session, and I think we have to go back and examine how did this happen. And that question starts with St. Paul's. They were an insurance company that offered malpractice insurance to the vast majority of physicians. They pulled out of our market. They didn't give proper notice to physicians. They had no time to shop for new insurance. They had some of the poorest underwriting that I saw. They insured one physician who had, over 15 lawsuits against him, and even the physician said that was just the tip of the iceberg. Yet they keep taking the premium without regard to this very bad physician. So while the good physicians pay, we need to get at the root cause of that and punish the insurance companies by saying, you can't spread that on to everybody else.
You want to make a comment, Jim? Go ahead.
Well, I think a lot of what Barbara has said is true, that in fact did happen. And I think it's important that the legislators develop accurate information as to how it happened and why it happened. The punishment of insurance companies is kind of interesting. As I've said before, when businesses lose money, it's pretty difficult to punish them for having lost money. That's happened here in Reno with parts of your downtown area. So I think it's going to be helpful to understand how small the number of physicians are, how limited the number are, and then how their investments of insurance companies actually operate. Unfortunately, there were some very bad underwriting decisions. Punishment is probably not something that can be done by the legislature. That'd have to be done by the courts. But I think reviewing how these things happen and improving the laws to create a marketplace where insurance companies are willing to do business, which they're currently not, is going to be very important.
But isn't it the doctors and the patients who end up paying for the bad decisions of the insurance companies?
The doctors have to pay the malpractice premiums. There's no question about that. There was a lot of discussion that St. Paul lost money in the stock market. Boy, aren't they stupid. Unfortunately, everybody who was in the stock market lost money. And also, as the information will develop, insurance companies have most of their money in Treasury bills. Now, did Treasury bill interest rates go down? Absolutely. So as the market declines, investment income goes down. That, unfortunately, is not something that the legislature can deal with, otherwise they would.
Barbara, what you have in your bill how to fix this? How is that?
Well, a couple different things. What we say in the bill is that if the insurance companies make bad decisions, they insure a doctor over and over again, knowing that there's a problem, then they should bear that risk, not the physician community. The bill requires more notice before an insurance company pulls out of the market so that physicians can find other insurance available. The other thing that we did when we studied the lawsuits that were actually going on, in many cases the doctor wanted to settle, the patient wanted to settle, there was a reasonable offer on the table, but the insurance company said, no, I want to gamble. The jury comes back with a higher award. Who should bear that risk? So what we're trying to get at is, insurance company, if you're gambling, if you're making bad decisions, don't make the patients pay, don't make the physicians pay.
Okay, we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we'll hear Jim Wadhams' response to this.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today, because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. 7 award-winning dining choices. Experience the Atlantis Seafood Steakhouse tonight. Winner of Wine Spectator's Award of Excellence. The local's choice for food and fun, Atlantis.
Atlantis.
At Sushi Club, everybody's family. That's what makes dining here so much fun. The sushi is consistently better, the atmosphere is great, and the service is wonderful.
Welcome to the bigger and better Sushi Club. Come in for our delicious daily specials.
When you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Walk into the Cactus Creek Bar and Grill at the Bonanza Casino, and you know you're in for a very special evening. Enjoy the southwestern atmosphere of some of the best gourmet food in Reno. It starts right here with Chef Bruce Norman and his talented staff. From buffalo T-bone to martini scampi and peppercorn duck. There's fine wine, specialty margaritas, and our pastry chefs create award-winning desserts. The Cactus Creek in the Bonanza Casino, 1 mile north of the university, where locals come to play.
back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Jim, how about this? Are the insurance companies going to just leave this state and leave us without any insurance?
Most of them already have. I think one of the exciting things, though, that's happened that I'm sure the Assembly Committee will be interested to hear is that 650 Southern Nevada physicians have formed their own medical malpractice insurance company because they wanted to have control of their own destiny. To a certain extent, that's a distrust of what happened with St. Paul, but they have formed their own company. They have no stockholders. They own it themselves. And I think the Assembly is going to be very interested to see how that activity and that enterprise can be protected and developed as a local response to the practices of insurance companies. So it's going to be important that the legislature not impede that effort by our doctors.
And I think that's a great development. I mean, you know, this stuff is cyclical. 20 years ago, we had a medical malpractice insurance crisis. 10 years ago, we had a medical malpractice insurance crisis. Whenever the insurance companies are doing poorly in the stock market, they jack up the cost of insurance. And that's because there's such a lag time between the collection of the premium and an ultimate judgment in medical malpractice, because something may not even be discovered for years. So they rely on that investment income. When their investment income doesn't do well, then there's trouble.
Well, Barbara, how can you enforce these laws and with insurance companies that say, okay, we're just going to pick up and go home and leave you without any insurance? And what does this do to the people that were insured by these insurance companies?
Well, the insurance companies have already left in the medical malpractice arena. And so it's our job. They're going to come back. As soon as Wall Street picks up, they're going to come back. And I think it's our job to make sure that when they do come back, they can't make these same mistakes and just kind of throw our state into a state of chaos, as they did across the country. I mean, it wasn't limited to Nevada.
I am concerned about a section in your bill that talks about if insurance companies are not paying the claims on time, then their license gets yanked away. What does that do for the people, though, that have been insured by this insurance company? All of a sudden, they're left without insurance. Is that right?
Well, right now we have a state law that says you have to pay claims within 30 days. And that's because a patient has given their money or their employer to pay for this insurance, and then the insurance company has an obligation to pay it. What this does is it says if you're ignoring the laws and you have more than 5% of your claims overdue, insurance company, you can lose your license. Now, as a practical matter, the insurance commissioner gives notice, a hearing. They have time to hurry up and pay their claims. It really is a tool, and it's not, I doubt very much whether anybody will be left in a lurch. The insurance company has an obligation to pay these claims anyway. What I think it's going to do is incentivize them to follow the law.
I don't really have a problem with that. Actually, the legislature dealt with this with a bill that was passed last session. And according to testimony that was provided on a similar bill in the Senate, just in the last 2 weeks, the State Medical Society said that those problems have been largely cleared up. So it's certainly appropriate that the Assembly receive that same information, and if there's not a problem, we don't need to fix it, and if there is, I'm sure we'll find a fix.
Well, what about people that are insured, Jim, and their license gets pulled? What happens to those people?
Well, if the license gets pulled, we have existing Nevada law that requires those contracts to continue to be honored for their term. What that really means is they can't sell any new insurance.
But people are not left suddenly without insurance.
The consumers would still have an insurance contract that they could rely on through that period of time. What I think is, as Barbara has said, there are protections built into the system. Everybody's entitled to due process. The key here is to make sure that these contracts are being performed, and most importantly, that we have people who will enter into these contracts and provide that insurance. Any of your viewers that have been to the hospital or to a doctor lately who don't have insurance know how important it is to have that mechanism to minimize, or at least to reduce that cost. Healthcare is very expensive.
We'll let you have the last comment.
There's some other good consumer protections in the bill. One of my favorites is when your HMO drops your physician to allow you to continue your treatment. For example, let's say you're pregnant, you're 8 months pregnant. It allows you to continue with the same physician until a certain period of time afterwards. It's continuity of care. And I think that, combined with the insurance reform, will really help a lot of Nevadans in the future.
You have a problem with that?
That bill is already being processed as a parallel bill, another assembly bill in the Assembly Commerce and Labor Committee, and I think it's going to successfully come out of that committee. So that notion is not unreasonable and primarily applies to people who are in the course of a treatment.
Okay. Thank you both for being with us very much. As you can tell, it's one of those issues that they sound like they agree, but they really don't. The bill is AB 320, and when is it being heard?
Tomorrow morning.
Being heard tomorrow morning. We'll be back shortly with the Pundit panel.
Enjoy news and a hot brew at Tamarack Junction. Stop in on your way to or from work, follow the market on one of our 32 TVs, and enjoy some fresh brewed coffee and a hot meal. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
When he was just a young boy, Ken Dillon laid back, looked up at the stars, and thought to himself, hey, this house could use a roof. Today, Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal offers a complete line of elk roofing products for any type of residential roof. With an elk roof from D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal, what's overhead stays overhead. Call Ken Dillon's D&D Roofing and Sheet Metal today for a free estimate. Yes, the technology sure has changed, but after all these years, Ken still enjoys playing with houses.
We've loosened our machines. We've given you the Gold Dust West Gold Rush Club, Reno's best slot club. You can win lots of jackpots. Play longer. Your points will add up faster than you think. Yeah, we're loose and we're not screwing around. See you at the Gold Dust West, south on Keystone, east on 4th.
Folks, you must see what's new in Virginia City. Ride the V&T train all the way to Gold Hill. Explore a mine, if you dare. Visit Piper's Opera House. Watch the gunslingers shoot it up on C Street. Shop in unique stores. Listen to honky tonk in the historic saloons. You can't see it all in one day, so spend the night. Virginia City, where the West comes alive. Come up and spend the night in our hotels, motels, and RV park.
Treat yourself to a late-night pick-me-up with Hobo Bob's Happy Hour at Tamarack Junction. Enjoy a delicious selection of food and drink specials every day from midnight to 3 a.m. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Well, we're minus Sam, and we're minus Andy Barbado this morning, but we'll talk to Joe Brezny from the Republican Party, Senator Dina Titus, Minority Leader of the Senate. We're very pleased to have you join us today. And John Cummings from Southern Nevada Community College. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you.
And let's get started. We just saw what was supposed to be a debate, although it wasn't very heated, between Jim Wadhams and Barbara Buckley on medical malpractice and insurance. And what did you think, Joe?
Well, I'm probably a little more in Jim's corner, but they both seem to be in the same corner because it really wasn't that heated of a debate. I guess at the end of the day, the comment that would throw me most is well, if insurance companies leave, it's not that big a deal. We want to protect victims' rights and ensure access as much as we possibly can, but at the end of the day, insurance is a private business, and I think it should be a private business. And if the insurance companies are just going to leave, I think that'll have devastating effects on the state. It's already a bad enough atmosphere as it is when pregnant women can't get the care they need.
Dina, you have a similar bill to Barbara Buckley's that's sitting over in Senator Townsend's committee. Is that correct?
I'm waiting for a work session on it. Maybe we'll get to it before the deadline comes. I certainly hope so. You know, we had a special session to look at medical malpractice. We looked at the doctors, we looked at the lawyers, we looked at the patients, but we could never get the insurance companies to come to the table. And I don't see how you fix that problem without doing some meaningful insurance reform. And if you look at the reforms in my bill and in Barbara's bill, these are things that are done in all other parts of the country, too. These aren't outside-the-box kind of reforms. They do business there. I think they'll do business here. I think it's just a false threat to us.
What kind of a business is it that says, if you won't play by my rules, I'll pick up my marbles and go home?
We've heard this before. I mean, we've heard this since every time there's a tax initiative from the Teachers Association to try to help K-12 classroom teachers. We're told that businesses will flee the state. I mean, we hear that from Joe's side of the aisle all the time, and we know that's just false. That's just bluffing, Joe.
Where you been,
and
John?
You know it.
Businesses are leaving the state. Doctors are a business, and doctors are fleeing the state, and we don't want them to. And insurance companies have fled the state, which is causing doctors to leave the state.
But
we
you know
can't
what?
require
Doctors
people to do
can
work
get
here.
together and form their own company, which is exactly what some have done. We have a state-subsidized insurance company, which is also now starting to cut rates because things are working better. And then what happens? Those insurance companies that flee the state look back and see the doctor's own company and the state company, and they go, "Oh, hey, that was pretty good business," and they come back.
Exactly. I don't think Tony Marlin is packing his bags down to Sierra Health.
Exactly.
Do you?
And those other businesses, talking about businesses leaving, you know, the Dillard's at the Fashion Show Mall in Las Vegas is the most profitable Dillard's in all the country. They're not charging you less for a sweater in Las Vegas than they charge you in Los Angeles, and our taxes are a lot less too, so I don't think they're going anywhere either.
You got that right,
If
Sam.
we could deliver babies at Dillard's, we'd be in great shape, but we can't. And because OBGYNs are leaving, we need to do something to keep them here.
And we in the North would just like to get Dillard's up here.
I don't think the solution is to just stick it to the insurance companies when they're already leaving and then hope we can find some solution that includes words like state subsidy, bigger government. That's not where I am on the issue, and I don't think it's where a lot of the people in Nevada are on the issue.
Or you could put a little tax on those gentlemen's clubs that I mentioned to get a subsidy for OBGYNs, and then you have women helping women because they don't pay any other kind of tax. Let them contribute to this.
But the OBGYNs didn't want that help. Dina, you remember that? They didn't want stripper money.
They said what? The doctor said they should get up and do lap dancing themselves or
They
something.
poo-pooed it, but let's see if they
depending
come
upon the
forward to get some
doctor.
of the subsidy.
I don't know much about lap dances, but I don't think I'd want a doctor doing it.
And Mr. Barbano has now joined us. Thank you.
He knows a lot about lap dances.
Yeah, I've taken a few laps in my time, but usually around a racetrack at Daytona or Lamar.
We were just discussing medical malpractice and whether or not insurance companies, if you come down too hard on them, will pick up their marbles and go home and leave the state.
Oh, that's the equivalent of mining companies saying, if you dare tax us or hit us for our pollution, for better pollution controls, we're going to go find gold elsewhere. There's a lot of money in the insurance business in this state, and there'll always be people to pick up the tab.
They're leaving. They're already, this isn't a hypothetical. They're leaving. They are leaving.
Now, wait. Doctors could. Let me just offer this to you,
Who's
Joe.
they?
He's talking
Insurance
about doctors.
companies are leaving, which is causing doctors to leave.
Well,
Insurance companies are coming back. Now, St. Paul pulled out, but that didn't have anything to do with the rates in Nevada or the reform because there wasn't any reform and the rates were low. They kept cutting rates so that they could kind of get a bigger share of the market. Then they pulled out because of Enron, because of the stock market, for all those reasons.
Let's blame not raising taxes on gaming and President Bush, and then we can just make it all my
Let's
fault.
raise taxes on President Bush.
Oh, goody.
We've got a bad case of short attention span theater with respect to the malpractice issue. A Minnesota insurance company decided to announce that they were getting out of the malpractice business about 10 or 12 years ago and precipitated another malpractice crisis. And it turned out it was just a shuck to jack the rates up. That's exactly what this one is.
okay, the reality is all the doctors in Clark County could have moved across the county line into Nye. Their rates would have immediately dropped because it was only in Clark County that they went up so high. Could have put in a super train to bring all the patients to Nye County and set up a huge medical complex there, and the rates would have dropped and the medical care would have been there.
Now that's economic development. I like that.
Let's talk about taxes and education briefly. John, you're with Southern Nevada Community College, and there was an article in the paper last week talking about how, in fact, you could offer the same degrees that Henderson State College is offering. We could close Henderson State College and save a lot of tax money.
I think I would rather see Henderson State survive. I think it's necessary. I think we need another college in Southern Nevada. I hope that we look at this session of way to combine some of the services that the community college offers along with the new Nevada State College. That would be my wish, and I think that's possible, and that's what we're aiming for.
You work at a university.
Yes, and I opposed Henderson State when it was first created, and it was created for political reasons, not for good education policy
That never
reasons.
happens.
But once it's established, I think you compound the error by only funding it in a kind of a half fashion, because then you
we know
because then you doom it to failure and mediocrity. And I think down the road we do need something, and you just have to build it step by step.
The only issue I would take with Senator Titus would be, this may not even be an issue, I agree with the statement she just made. I don't think we should have duplicate programs at CCSN, at UNLV, and at Henderson State right now. I think with the economic climate that we have, let's not go the whole way to a draconian end and say, well, let's just close it and have to pay out contracts and leases and lose the land that was donated. Let's not do that, but I don't know if we need 2 cooking schools or 3 whatever schools. I think you should try and tailor this so that each fills a niche.
Exactly.
I thought
Consolidate some
the point of
services.
Hooterville State was to train teachers. You know those people you don't like very much? Is this part of a long-range plan to get more teachers?
Teachers and nurses.
Just very quickly, Senator Titus has a bill called Sunshine and Litigation that would open up secret settlements such as against auto dealers and so forth. I need 10 seconds from each of you. What are the chances of this bill passing, because it's good for the public?
Well, thank you, Andy. I've been working on this since '91. You will remember. I'm pretty optimistic this time around. Maybe, I just keep plugging, so hopefully we'll get it. No more secret agreements.
If she's been working on it since '91, there's probably some reasons that it hasn't gone through yet. But I'll take a look at it.
Oh,
my.
You'll take a look at it.
I'm sorry, the new majority leader just said he would take a look at it.
Okay, well, all right, we're going to say goodbye now, and we'll see you on Monday.
If you're talking sushi, you're talking Sushi Club. Year after year voted the best place for sushi. 11 chefs on staff to serve you. Better ingredients for consistent high quality. And lots of room, so bring your friends. Sushi Club in the Independence Square Shopping Center.
Feel it, the magic is everywhere. The action, the style, the food, the flair. Play with us, stay with us in Reno, say El Dorado, and live the excitement. El Dorado, Reno shining star. Live the excitement.
CTX can help you negotiate your best deal. We've been your home team advantage for over a decade. Call us today because at CTX, local service still matters.
Yeah, with CTX, you're homeward bound.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, consistently voted Reno's best buffet by locals. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch.
Atlantis.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
On Monday, Sam Shad is back, and we talked to a senator that could be a real profile in courage. Thank you for watching.